Hi friends, today we're going to do my less than 10-minute writing exercise that will improve your writing by expanding your vocabulary. I've selected 3 words for us to play around with. With our writing, we're going to use each one of these words in a sentence so we can better understand them by putting them into context. I will give you general definitions, but I've also included links below to Merriam-Webster's website where you can find the formal definitions and pronunciations. I will also include my sample sentences below as well. Today's 3 words I've selected are resounding, circa, and expedient. Resounding, circa, expedient. All right, let's see what we can come up with for resounding. And resounding is an adjective, and it means clear and definitive. Okay, let's see. When he asked the children if they wanted ice cream, they all yelled in a resounding yes. Sorry, that's putting that in single quotes. When he asked the children if they wanted ice cream, they all yelled in a resounding yes. Resounding yes. So they all yelled in a clear and definitive, they gave their answer in a clear and definitive manner. So we're describing how they said yes in a clear and definitive. They yelled it, in fact. Anyway, that is resounding. Let's move on to circa. All right. And circa is a preposition, meaning a word that usually you think of if you just think of the second half of preposition, position, where is it in time, space, that kind of thing. I think you'll find it helpful. So circa is a preposition, and it means at approximately. So it's not a really decisive time in, it refers to time, but not in any very specific or decisive manner. All right, let's see what we come up with for circa. Let's see, his death was circa 1820. You may have seen this before where they say someone died circa whatever. It's an approximation. They don't know exactly, but they're approximating that he died in 1820. So that is circa. All right, let's move on to expedient. And expedient can either be an adjective, a word that describes, or it can be a noun, a word that represents a person, place, or a thing. We're going to first use it as an adjective. But first, expedient, by the way, means doing what is opportune or easily accessible, or something done quickly to achieve a particular end. That's expedient. So let's first use it as an adjective. All right. Let's see. In expedient move to reach the shore in his boat that had taken on water, comma, he tossed overboard anything heavy. All right, so this fellow's in a boat and it's taking on water, so he needs to make it to shore. So in a expedient, we're describing the type of move. This is an adjective here. In an expedient move, in a move that is opportune or something done quickly to achieve a particular end, an expedient move, he tossed anything heavy overboard because his boat's taking on water. Does that make sense? In an expedient move to reach the shore, so he's trying to reach the shore, he's doing something expedient because his boat's taking on water. So that's what he did. He tossed anything heavy overboard in order to keep his boat afloat. All right, let's move on to expedient as a noun. All right, let's see. She found it expedient to agree with her brother. Rather than fight over where they would eat out that evening. All right, so you have this brother and sister. They're trying to figure out where they're going to eat out or dine out that evening. She found it expedient to agree with him, to agree with her brother, rather than argue over what they should do. So she found it a quick way to achieve a particular end. So in this case, she found it expedient. In this case, expedient is a noun. And that's what she did. That's how it's used that way. But in the other case, you're describing the type of move. That means it's an adjective. All right. Anyway, 3 wonderful, interesting words: resounding, circa, and expedient. If you're unfamiliar with these words, play around with them. Use them in a sentence. Make them part of you so they're accessible to you when you write. If you enjoyed this writing exercise, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and happy writing.